So first of all, amazing presentation. I love the way you portrayed AI, but I kind of felt like you were playing it a little safe. You didn't give like, a bold, controversial take. So let me just help you with that. So do you think with the rise of AI and those waves that you show, that Webflow will stop existing at some point? That will be overtaken by NCP servers, and we will start doing less and less and less. What's your take?
I think Webflow did something you can say smart in that context about going up market to the enterprise and stop competing. I think for freelancers, small websites, and when you get to big enterprise problems like we saw earlier. You really need to have somebody to work with. Yep. I mean, big companies like we saw with the 21 shares, for example, they need a platform to work with. It doesn't matter if Webflow will end up being AI or something like this. Somebody's going to need to solve the problem for all of these people, and it's probably going to be Webflow. So Webflow might change. I don't think it's going to disappear. Yep. I think, again, people who are down market trying to do like websites for everyday people are more threatened than Webflow in that sense. All right.
I love the answer. Žiga, what do you think about that? You are doing a lot of enterprise projects. So what's your take on the direction that Webflow is taking on?
So I think AI won't replace us anytime soon completely. I think it can augment our way of working. So it can help everyone here build things faster, build things better, which is also how it's implemented, right? It's there to serve us, not for us to serve AI. We're also planning to implement features with AI in our products, a lot of them essentially. So I think in the future there's going to be more and more AI-powered products, but not necessarily AI human replacements, at least not in the near future for creative work especially. Yeah, got it. When we started talking about products, so Julian, what were the biggest challenges? Because on your presentation it looked kind of smooth, the transition from Webflow developer to a web app developer. So what were the biggest challenges that you encountered coming from like a no-code developer, not knowing how to code essentially, to becoming a web app developer?
I learned it and I didn't even know I learned it. Okay. Every single next step just felt so natural and so easy. Like I said, I don't like learning, so to say. And it was just easy because first things first, learning Webflow. We've all, well, most of us have learned Webflow here. From there, going to the next step and adding something like MemberStack, that's not a very big step. You have to watch some videos from yours truly. You have to, check, fail a couple times, and that's it. Next step, adding in something like Zapier, Make, whatever it may be. Again, a very natural step, a very natural progression. And then the movement into something like Wiz to build something like that, that's probably the biggest one because that's where you start to go from like fields and filling them out to actually having to work with code logic. But again, I would say it's like a very steep, very short hill. It's not going to be fun, but you're going to get over it very fast.
So kind of reverse engineered learning code, like from backwards, from by doing the visual coding, then going back and understanding it.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's nice. So touching on the WWX stack or member stack, so what is the turning point where you are kind of considering, okay, this is the limit, we go to custom code? Where is the line?
Well, actually, that's an interesting one, and I just had a conversation with Rand here. He has an idea, I'm not giving it away. You'll all steal it. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, come on, you need to tell it. No.
No, it's all in secret right now.
Okay.
But here's the thing. There are certain limitations, let's say, to building with certain no-code / slow code, whatever it may be, tools. And those only apply rarely. So, for example, if you're building a kind of B2B, a developer tool or something like that, I mean, it's okay if someone has to click and wait half a second for the next thing to happen. But if you're building something where essentially peak performance and not responsiveness is in devices, but like response to feedback and vibrations and smooth animations and stuff like that, the thing is, these tools are not at a point where you can compete in that way. So if your goal is to succeed based off of building the most refined product on the market, do not do it with a no-code or a low-code tool. If your goal is to build a solution to something that no one else has quite done yet, use a low or a no-code tool.
Makes sense. Žiga, you want to add something?
We at Flowout, we actually always code our products. So we tried no code, and I know this is not in the Webflow spirit in general, but we always code our products just because they at the end work better. So we've tried many of the stacks for our products, which may be a bit technical for this specific case, right? So I can't imagine creating an A/B and split testing tool with no code.
Yeah.
Or I can't imagine developing, let's say, something like SyncMate, which is for syncing data externally to Webflow with no code without it being too expensive to actually make sense. Because all of these tools can have a very high price if you try to scale them at the end, right? So you have to make pretty solid revenue. I mean, already I think 10% of up-to-base costs are infrastructure, which essentially means, if it's going to be no code, it will be probably 90% or 120. So personally, I'm more of a code fan when it comes to products, but no-code tools, especially for simple ideas, can be amazing to build an MVP with. I think this is what they're made for. I think this is what they're perfect for. Yeah. Like portals, anything that requires user sign-in and maybe some action on the back end just to see if the core feature is just the thing that's going to work and potentially make money, right?
I think, can I add?
Yeah.
I think that the line is always moving. I mean, when Webflow came out initially, even with the first interaction and then with the interaction second version, for a lot of people, that was like mind-blowing that whatever you could previously do with code, now you can do it with no code, and like the line has moved. But then a new technology came up, like GSAP, for example, and suddenly people realized that, again, to get this snappiness, this beautiful, like the last maybe 10% of really peak performance, you would have to go into code. A lot of people, even in the Webflow community who are all like no code, started to getting into code because they wanted this snappiness, this like cutting edge of beautiful performance. And now the line is moving again, right? Webflow purchased GSAP. Soon we'll all be able to create these same interactions without code. And then there's going to be the next thing, like with performance and snappiness, that you need code. And then, so the line is constantly shipping and moving in terms of what you need custom code for.
Yeah, I love your take. And you can also use AI to write this 10% that you're missing. So essentially, you don't have to code at some parts. Žiga, you touched a little bit on the revenue. So I'm curious, like you in Flowout, you went big with building apps. So what's like, you don't have to give specific numbers, but you have a big agencies. Like, what part of the revenue comes from the apps now? Like, what's your plan for growing Flowout?
So our own apps
Yes.
bring in about a bit more than 5% of our revenue.
Nice.
Every year, so annually, right? With building client apps plus what we do with our own apps, it's probably about 10 to 15% currently.
Okay.
So it's a branch we're scaling because at the end everyone does websites. We were looking at something else to do, something different, something new, something that maybe is not on the market, which is building apps. So this is something that you need to actually code for. Luckily, our team is mostly engineers, mostly front-end, and we also have back-end engineers in-house. So we are able to do custom-coded apps, right? So that's sort of why we shifted a bit more towards that direction.
All right. So you're betting big on building apps.
Yeah, but our plan is to shift more of our revenue. The end goal is probably to have apps produce more revenue than agency. Right. So just our own products.
Are you planning to, because now they are all mostly Webflow based, like apps that power up Webflow workflows?
They are. Yeah. Yes, they are. So we don't really build a Webflow product. Essentially, how it works is let's give Optibase as an example, right? So Optibase is a web app. Optibase is built in Node.js and React and whatnot. How that works is essentially we have an exposed API that we then use to create a Webflow app from it. It's like building a Webflow app for Stripe, right? So it's not like Stripe is a Webflow product, as Optibase is also not a Webflow product. Webflow is just its first integration in this case. So we sort of use it to test our wider idea of is there a market for a new, maybe simpler, cheaper, whatever, A/B testing solution. We test this hypothesis, on Webflow, because there's no competition on Webflow, so it's much easier to test there. And we have, let's say, more influence because we have more users from other apps, we know the community, we know the team at Webflow and so on. So it's much easier for us to launch this as a first integration. Of course, you market it to Webflow initially, right? Because it's your first and only integration at this point.
Got it. That's awesome. Julian, like from your perspective, like what's your, because I know you have a lot of ideas, so and you're in member stack, and it's an awesome addition to like, you know, doing a no-code way of building products. So what is your current workflow? Like how much of the workflow of like building stuff for yourself, for example, is AI? Like how would you approach it? Like telling people if, like giving one advice of how to approach like building a product for yourself, for example.
Everything you need to do at the start is understanding what it is that you're building. My start, I go back to the dinosaur ages. I get a pen and a piece of paper, not even Figma or anything like that, and I just figure out what is this going to look like from the user's point of view. Once I figured that out, it makes sense, and it is indeed something that I think is going to work. My next step is to, you know, I was talking about create, read, update, delete. I basically map out what is going to need to happen. When the user does this, this is going to happen, and it's going to put data here. So I map out all of that, and then I have a clear set of requirements. I know what my front end is going to be, as in I know what it's going to need to be. I know what my back end is going to need to be. I know how all of this works. At that point in time, I can clearly decide on the stack that I want to use without running into an oh shit moment, because believe me, I have many times when I just, let's say, go, I'm just going to build this with Webflow and member stack. Oh, I need that member data to be accessible by other people. And it's the kind of thing you could have so easily not screwed up on if you just thought a little bit. So spend 4 hours, 5 hours with a pen and paper just mapping it out, and then all will be clear.
Nice. I feel like we have a theme also with the previous panel that it's back to the basics. Like you need to get the basics right. But Ran, we have you, and you're an amazing designer. So if you can share some tips or maybe a tool that you recently discovered that powers your workflow, like designing, like do you approach it differently with AI tools? Like, I don't know, doing a landing page or...
Yeah, I've been playing a lot with the AI tools, but mostly just to play around to build something like a prototype. I've been having fun, and I've tested all of them. I've shared that I took one prompt and I put it in Lovable, put it in Bolt, put it in Replit, just to figure out where I'm getting best results. I would say though, in terms of design, none of them I'm happy with the design. They build the functionality fine. I still feel like that for design I'm going to be working with inside of Figma. And there are a few cool tools, like from, I don't know if you're familiar with Meng from Design Plus Code. He created a very cool product where you can prompt designs and you're getting some kind of a UI, but then you're able to download this to Figma to start fine-tuning it. So I do feel like, you know, a lot of our job as designers, if we want to craft something that's really nice, that's really unique, and that doesn't look like a generic AI something, we're going to have to end up customizing it and touching it probably in Figma. So it's going to be a process, like maybe start with AI, go back to Figma, fine-tune a little bit, bring your own style and vision to it, then maybe bring it back to the AI as a reference and continue from there. So maybe something like this.
Love the take. So I feel like you will have a lot of questions, and I see a first hand here. So let's start with the audience questions. We have a person over here. If you could bring the microphone. Do we have the microphones? Oh yeah, let's go ahead.
Hi guys, I'm Evgeny. Got a question for Žiga. Essentially, you said that you got to $25K in pre-sales for OptiBase. My question is, since you're a data-driven person, I'm guessing you have had your share of calculations going into how much money you're gonna need in order to launch the product. So how did you go around making those calculations, and how did you market the sale? Did you market it within your own Slack channels, going through your current and old clients, or did you market that through some other channels like AppSumo or something?
Those are both actually very good questions. So we sort of try to estimate how long it's going to take to build a product and how much it's going to cost, but we almost always don't have the correct number. Because building a product has a lot more question marks than building just a front-end based interface like a website, right? So we try to validate it in terms of, okay, let's say this should cover the costs, but we're always prepared to go into the negative when it comes to building our MVPs and our products. So that it's more of a guess than anything else. It's a guesstimation in this case. When it comes to marketing, we try to market it. Currently, what we do is we try to first market it in various community channels like Slack, Facebook groups, and so on, and also email lists. So we have an email list of all of our users who we can then sell. I mean, we can tell essentially that we have a new app coming up.
Is that what happened in the pre-sale?
In the pre-sale, yes, it also happened at that point, yeah.
They approached me for sure, I remember.
And we try to also go individual. So we know, we might ask someone who we know personally, like you or like Dawid or whoever is in our contact list in general, and just ask for feedback initially. And many people at the end tend to buy it because if it makes sense for them, they purchase it. So usually it's like friends, family, then it's everything else.
Understood. Thank you.
Awesome. We have another question here, close by. Yeah.
Hello everyone. My name is Mihailo. First of all, I would like to greet everyone. It's really truly amazing to have speakers like this in this year. Like, you guys are really amazing. And I would like to ask Ran about one specific thing. I wrote my question down, so just let me read it. Okay. So the thing is, when I was putting out educational content, I had a bunch of developers reaching out wanting to learn, which totally made sense. Now I'm wondering, do you think education can actually lead to high-ticket clients? And if so, how should that kind of content be done to attract those clients? Thank you.
I think also following up the talk that we saw earlier today about people not wanting to give their emails and stuff like this, I think that the approach of gaining attention and building trust through education, obviously it works. It worked for me, and I think it works. It doesn't matter if it's for B2B, B2C. Obviously, even all it's classic, and we saw it here. Even B2B are selling through webinars, which are essentially the same thing. It's like an educational content to help people learn something, show them that you're an expert, and that leads down the line to sale. So I think education as a way to, again, build trust and generate sales works with small clients, big clients, for everything. You need to build this relationship, and education is a great way to do that.
Okay, thank you. One more question. How do you find time to do both education and agency stuff, like working with clients and also sorts of other things?
I mean, for me personally, when I started, I didn't start this as a business initiative. I started making videos for fun. And so my time was, after putting the kids to sleep, spend 1-2 hours doing this. But at some point, though, it became my business. And then, you decide in your business how much resources you put into client work, marketing, finance, administration. That's any business manages their resources, time, money that way. And so if you consider education or content as your marketing, and if you decide I'm going to put 10%, 20% of my time or money on marketing, some agencies pay ads and some agencies pay for referrals and some agencies can do content. It's the same thing. So you budget how much you want to spend on this thing, and then you do it, and you track the results and see if you need to do more of it, less of it, if it works.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks. So we have a person here in the middle. Can you pass the mic? Yeah, thank you.
Sure.
Nice.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
So I have 2 questions. First question is for Žiga. So what inspired you to create SyncMate, and what problems it will solve?
So the problem, and this is a problem we have very commonly, because we've had to solve it a dozen times personally, so it's essentially a product we would buy, is that you can't easily sync external data sources, data from external data sources with Webflow CMS. So let's say a customer uses NetSuite for their ERP and they have 5,000 products there. To do so right now, you essentially need to use something like Retool or develop custom middleware for it, which is very expensive, very time-consuming, and very hard to maintain. So what we basically did is we built SyncMate, which is a product where you can build your own sync flow and sync data from anywhere into Webflow CMS for a fraction of the cost.
Thank you. And the next question is for Ryan. Where do you see design in the next 5 years?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I've said this earlier. This is a very exciting, and I mean, exciting, scary, however you want to do it. I mean, there's the ability for one person to create amazing work single-handedly with animations, videos, all of this stuff, custom code and interaction is just mind-blowing. So there's an amazing side to it. Are there going to be less designers required? I don't know. So it's an interesting time to be in web design, definitely.
Thank you.
I think if you ask Apple, they will say liquid glass.
Oh yeah, liquid glass is amazing. All right, do we have another question? On this side, left, yeah. The microphone is going. Amazing job.
First, hello guys. I want to introduce myself. I'm a 15-year-old video editor, and I'm not in the stuff, Webflow and everything like that. And I wanted to ask you for some advice for finding clients. So it's a bit connected in Webflow and video editing about clients. And I wanted to ask you how you are finding clients, some story, how you found your first client or something like that. Is it portfolio, testimonial, or something like that?
I've got a good one for that. So, I mean, I work in product right now, so I don't work with clients. That being said, I've been an agency, I've been a freelancer, and you said you're 15. I just want to say that's amazing. I don't know, yeah, honestly.
Thank you.
And I'm looking back right now thinking I was in the exact same boat, actually, 15 years old, on my computer, and just trying to figure out how am I going to get some work. Well, fast forward, I'm actually 23 right now, so I'm still pretty young. That being said, since the time I started my career, I've never gone a single day without a client, and I'm going to tell you how right now. Everybody's looking at these platforms like Fiverr, Upwork, where are the easy jobs? Where can I land these easy deals? Those are great, and you can make some connections through there. But you gotta look at the things that just are, I guess, a bit less straightforward than that. And I'm gonna tell you what I did right now. I went on LinkedIn, or you can pick anywhere. It could be a conference like this. And just don't worry about the fact that you're shaking. Walk up to every single person you possibly can. Say, hi, this is my name. This is what I do. Ask them questions about them and just make them like you, because they are going to remember this guy's a video editor, and the second they need a video editor, they're going to go, I like this guy, I want to work with him, and I want to give him a chance. If you just talk to people and make people like you, you will never go without clients. It takes a bit to start, like you can't just do that tomorrow, but once it goes up, you're good.
Yeah.
I want to share a story that's super relevant to you. Actually, in 2017 or 18, I was in a design conference with Vlad, the CEO of Webflow, where I did one of my first Webflow workshops that ended up turning into my course. But there was a video editor that came to this conference. Again, it's a conference for designers. This video editor kid went there, and he brought his camera, and he just shot everybody. And for the second day of the conference, he basically shared like 3-4 videos with the different peoples that he just randomly, met the other day. This guy was super talented, and he blew up people's mind to the point where by the end of the conference, they were showing his video on the screen because it was already an amazing video of the conference themselves. And this guy ended up getting so many projects from that conference alone that kicked off his whole career. So I was actually going to give you a different answer to that, which is just do cool stuff and share it with the people around you, friends and family. But the point is, you're already here. Do your thing and just show it to people. And if they like it, stuff's going to happen.
Ooh, I have another quick piece of practical advice. So some people might disagree with this one, but especially at the start of my career when I didn't have any clients, all I thought was this: I don't care if I'm making money, I need to work. So here's the thing, if you have free time in the day, that means that free time is worth $0 because nobody's paying you for it. Find someone you want to work for, a project that you want to do it for free. From there, once you're full of free projects, raise your price to €5 an hour. I don't care. Sure, is that little? Of course. Can you live off that? Not at all. Fill up your time at 5. Then once it's at 5, say, hey clients, now it's 10. Some of them are going to leave, but not all of them will, but you just doubled it. Now it's 20. Now it's 40. So if you don't have a client right now, just tuck it between your legs and work for free.
Thank you very much.
What's your take, Žiga? I know you're at Flow at the beginning, also like outreaching to bigger companies, but how did you start?
We did. So I used to freelance in the past as well. So there's a lot of work that you sort of have to do, at least in the beginning, which is either very cheap or free. So I think that's I agree with both of you actually. It's you have to show your skill because no one knows your skill yet. Yeah. So you gotta do something, gotta produce, create videos, try to sell, try to talk to people, be personal in the beginning because what you have, what maybe larger businesses don't, is being personal at this point. And you have to play the card all the time. When it comes to Flowout, we've tested 1 million variations of our homepage and our landing pages, and what works most is social proof. So you get as many testimonials, video, text testimonials, whatever you can, from as many people as you can that you work with. Get your portfolio going, build it up, and just try to sell for more and more and more as you go along. This is the same way I think everyone should start with a business.
One more question. What do you think about making content, posting, that like I go to this conference, like day 1, day 2, as a video editor, and something like that? I was talking about with my parents about that, and they told me like people don't need to know what you're doing in the day, but when I speak with some people like you, they tell me do that. So what do you think about that?
I think creating content is great if you enjoy creating content. If somebody tells you you need to create content, if you watch like Gary V type influencers who are like, you should be posting 7 pieces of content a day.
Blueberries!
And if you try to do this but you're not having a good time, you're not going to be surviving like a week doing it. I figured out I enjoy making videos, but I didn't know beforehand. And that I kept doing it because it was fun, not because somebody told me I should do that. So, if you are a video editor because you enjoy making videos, then make videos. That's it. I mean, you can't pick a strategy that you're not excited about. So you need to find out what you enjoy doing and then just do it.
I think it's actually very easy to test. You just film it, try to push it for a while, see if it sticks. If it doesn't, change the topic, film something else. But if your parents wouldn't want to watch it, there might be other people who would. So you don't ever target everyone. You will never have every single person in the world as your viewer. You're just targeting a specific niche, a specific part of the public.
But I will tell you, if I would look at the views of my first videos and just say, well, I guess people don't like my videos, I should stop doing the videos, I would not be doing videos because nobody watched them. I kept doing it because it was fun. It was like my creative outlet, so I kept on doing it.
You got to stick to it, right? You got to stick to it for a while.
Yeah. Julian, want to add anything on this one?
I forget.
Okay. That's okay. But I have a piece of advice for you also, like specific to sales. Like when you get the clients, leads in, and it will happen one way or another if you stick to it. The thing that worked wonders for me, and going back to what the guys said about being personal. So people are buying not essentially your product, they're buying you, they want to work with you. So how can you actually show this value very quickly, there is a Chrome extension called Loom. It's a free tool that allows you to record you and the screen very quickly, very easily, just with a click of a button. And if you add it to the offer by going through the offer and being like energetic, being like, they already see who they will work with. So that is something, and it's for all of you, even when you're selling websites, like designing, being freelancers, that worked wonders. And that landed me very big clients from Flux Academy, by the way, also, from the community that Ran founded. And so utilize this, be personal with people, because that's the power, and it's even more important now in the age of AI, where everyone can generate an offer. So just add yourself to it. And yeah, just wanted to add this. And let's move to another question.
Thank you.
Do we have any more questions?
I actually have a question for Ran over here, super quick.
Yeah.
So I just want to say it's so cool sitting next to him right now, because I think probably at least half the people in this room, he's like my idol when it comes to Webflow. So glad you're here in Serbia, just want to say. So I make YouTube videos literally constantly, and some of them are quite boring. Yours aren't very boring, and I have to ask, what formula do you follow in terms of this? Like, you want to start it, let's say, so my thing when it comes to speeches, for example, you may have noticed, my way of making it engaging is this: get you excited, show you what you're going to learn, teach it to you, recap what you learned. Do you have anything that you follow for your videos that, like a blueprint, let's say?
First of all, I wanted to tell you, regardless of videos, you have a really great energy. Even now, talking to people and on the stage, you have a really great energy. So first of all, I noticed this on your talk, how you recapped everything, and I was like, this guy is a pro. I didn't do a recap in my talk. So, I mean, it looks like you've done your homework, as you can see, better than me. And so I think I want to say one thing about my videos. I am not good at making viral videos and getting engagement. I have very few viral videos. The only thing that I'm good at is keep on doing it because I'm having fun doing it. So I don't have any format for engagement. I do have, and if you go back, I did like thousands of videos at this point, and what I did learn is perhaps how to bring energy to the video, which is, I guess, engaging versus my first videos where I was awkward and didn't know how to talk to the camera. But I think you already got that, so I think you're doing great.
Thank you. I guess maybe if my videos just stop being so specific, I'll be like, how to add a star emoji to your members custom field, and there are 2 people on earth that are ever going to want to watch that video, right?
So it's not you. The niche is too
it's
small.
the niche.
The niche is too small. Yeah.
All right, I'm happy to hear that one. I saw.
Okay, so I have a quick thing to say, not really a question. First of all, to introduce myself, my name is Nikola. I'm a software engineering student at Metropolitan University, and also I'm a taekwondo coach and national referee. I do lots of stuff, but the only thing I wanted to say is, first, thank you for coming a long way here to be a part of this conference. I really love it that we're spreading Webflow and development culture in general. I see that you're very community-oriented, you're speaking with everybody, giving us opportunity to ask questions and everything. I'm really grateful for that. I would like a round of applause for getting a long trip for here, I think. And I'm glad to hear if you like it here. This is a city where I grew up. I really love it here. If you need any food recommendations, I can give you any. Here in this part of Serbia, we really love food and culinary stuff and everything. But the main thing I wanted to say is that video editing dude right there, called Lazar. I met him earlier today. I saw his content. If anybody here, I know it's first day, not second, for networking, but if anybody here needs a video editor, that guy is killing it. Yeah, so big round of applause for him, and connect with the guy. Connect with the guy. Let's support young people for doing jobs. Yeah.
Yes.
That's it. Thank you.
That's awesome. Thank you for that. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. Do we have any more questions? Yes, there is one in the back, in the middle. Hello.
This is more scarier than AI. Okay,
Wait until you're up on the stage.
Oh my God. Okay, so I have a question. So should we be more generalist or specialist? Because I'm interested in marketing and design, but studying like management and development, and I don't know what to do, basically. So I'm curious if we should use AI for smaller things, like for smaller tasks, and be more generalist, or do you think it's better to be specialist?
I think we are entering the age of the generalist entirely. So I'm a person who's good at everything and great at nothing. And that's cool, you know, and it's always kind of had its own benefits. That being said, we now live in a time where with AI, I can essentially do 30 different things at once. And when you're a generalist and you know enough about something, you are the person who is going to become a superpower based on AI. If anyone in this room right now is an extreme specialist, so let's say you just know the ins and outs of JavaScript, let's say nothing else, all you do is JavaScript, you should be the person who's the most scared of AI, because AI doesn't do anything without human direction. That being said, it can answer any question exactly like you can. But if you're a generalist, you can point the fingers at AI. So I think if you're a generalist right now, you are safe.
I will have to partially disagree with you.
Nice.
I think if... What are you? Are you a specialist, or would you consider yourself a generalist as a person?
I'm generalist.
Then be generalist. I think if you are really good in one thing, if you're extremely, let's say, a genius developer, if you're a genius designer, design, develop. If you're, let's say, good in many things, but not a genius in one thing, just do everything a little bit. I think it's very important actually to try to find your niche, and even generalism is its own niche, I think. And it doesn't make sense to force someone into something that doesn't want to do that thing. So I would say if you're a generalist as a person, keep doing general things, be a generalist, try to have a wide range of knowledge. It can be all the way from engineering to marketing at the end of the day, right? So you don't have to ever develop your own product, but it's good that you understand it. You don't ever have to build a marketing team, but it's good that you know how to do it, or whatever your cases would be.
I agree with you 100%. I don't think even the question assumes that one is necessarily better than the other. I don't think that this is necessarily true. I think what is true in the age of AI is that there's no place for mediocrity, right? So you want to be the best. If you only care about penguins and you just want to study and work with penguins, you can be this specialist. If you are the best, that's great. If you want to be a generalist and build stuff, and yeah, this is the age of the generalist, because generalists can build stuff, and if you do that at a high end, you're going to succeed. So you're going to succeed anyway if you want to become the best. I think it's who should be worried are people who just want to be mediocre and just stay at their job and do what they're told and do mind-numbing work so that they can go back home and do other things. Those people should be concerned. But if you're excited about something and you want to do it, both of them can work, I think.
Just imagine how good and how powerful a penguin specialist with the power of AI is, right? That's like, you know, it
sounds amazing.
You can really grow.
You should do
really
it.
grow it. I mean, for let's say engineering, if you are a very good engineer, if you're a very good designer, you can just get better with AI. But a generalist with AI will not be as good of a designer as maybe someone who really does it as a passion, as a genius in it. But you can be good in 10 things. That person will maybe be good in just one thing or two or three.
If you love what you do, I think you're in a really good spot. Like, watching Rand's talk, I can see exactly how that goes. I'm not scared of any trends, because my goal is just, if you, especially if some like old lady asks what I do, I don't know what to say. But anyways, I just like building things on the internet. And so if a better way to build things on the internet comes out, I'm going to be the first one to try it. But there are people out there, Webflow developers, WordPress developers, whatever they may be, who essentially, they do it for the paycheck and nothing more. And when your focus is only on one skill, as Rand said, you are one thing away from total collapse.
Couldn't agree more. All right, we have time for like 2 more questions. So here's one in the middle.
Da, da, da.
The build-up.
Test. Hey guys, so I have a question. Simon said that MQLs are dead. What do you think about it? And if you agree with him, can you tell me why?
Actually, in a big way, yes. In a big way, no. Because MQLs basically, at least, I mean, it means marketing qualified lead. In my eyes, that's just somebody who they are aware of you and they may have some sort of need for your product. So in that sense, I mean, that's always going to be a thing. But I do agree that the sales cycle is becoming a lot more independent with people doing their own research. And, you know, I have a website where you have to enter your email to get a plugin. Sorry, Simon, I know you probably think that's bad. And I can't tell you how many fake emails I get. And that wasn't so much of a thing before. So I do and don't disagree.
I think, first of all, I thought that was a really interesting talk and approach. And I'm just going to give example from our business. We have a lot of what we call lead magnets, which is where we ask for somebody's email to download some kind of a resource. And yes, sometimes people use fake emails. However, we get thousands of leads or like emails per week. So it still works in a way. And these are actual emails that we get open rates and engagement and so forth. That being said, every time we're doing like a big promo or like a discount and a lot of people buy, we go over and do the kind of like split, like how many of these people were leads, like we were marketing to them on email before they purchased, and how many people purchased and they were not even on our system. And the weird thing is that every time that happens, there are more people who bought and were not in our systems and were not leads who bought. And we're always like blown up, like why are we getting so many leads? It doesn't even matter at the end of the day, the people who purchased were not even leads and we didn't email market to them and they still bought. So I think these two things like coexist. There are still, it works to get leads and do email marketing, but it's true, a lot of people do their own research and they just decide to buy spontaneously. So both things are true, I think.
Yeah, I agree with Ran. I think it's not one thing is dead, the other one's thriving. It's more like coexisting in the same place. And the ratio can change, but it's always going to coexist. That's my belief.
Okay, thank you guys.
All right, we have a time for one last final question. So, oh, it's here. The microphone is coming.
Hello. So my question is actually, like if you, as people have already like discussed, like you should niche down. So if you are a generalist and you are just starting out as a Webflow developer, you can do Webflow, web apps, you can know a lot about design and stuff like that. How would you sell yourself on the website? Because you have this much space to sell yourself to any particular client.
I think some people confuse niching as in what niche is your service, as in I am in the niche of Webflow. But what I speak of when I talk about niching is who is your client. So you can be a Webflow developer, doesn't matter if you're doing, you can be a Webflow developer that does websites and apps that target, you know, tech companies, and you can also be a Webflow developer that targets whatever, hospitality industry. These are two different niches. So there is the niche of your services, but there's usually what we're talking about is the niche of who your customer is, because you have to know who your customer is to put on your website, I'm a Webflow developer for. If you just write, I'm a Webflow developer, then you're generic. Even though you're in the niche of Webflow, you're pretty much generic because somebody visits your website, they don't know, oh, this is for me. So that's what I think about niche.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I mean, the more you niche down, the smaller your market is. You are just moving in, you know, the saying, big fish in a small pond. You're decreasing the size of your pond, which relatively increases the size of yourself. You still want to have a big market, but you need to make sure your marketing message is relevant to everyone that you're targeting. So I'm doing something right now in the WordPress space, which is such a I love how here in the Webflow space, we're all, I'd say, very united. We all work in the same way. WordPress is such a divided ecosystem. And you have, someone said this to me the other day, Mary from marketing, who just kind of cracks open WordPress and does her best. And then you have someone who's been custom coding WordPress themes for 20 years. I am having an extremely difficult time pinning down a marketing message because those people are so different. So we're in the process of finding out, I guess, what the biggest market we can have is while still having a message that applies. So just think about who are you selling to, all the people that you're selling to, and does this message resonate with them?
Thank you.
Add something, Žiga?
Yeah, I mean, I'm also all for niches. So basically niches, like Ran said, is customers, right? So essentially, if you are a Webflow developer, you are one out of 10,000 in the world. If you're a Webflow developer for grocery stores in Kansas, you're probably one of two, right? So it's much easier to grab that market than it is to grab the market of everything. And you're not really specialized. So, what's your pitch? What do you do? And if someone asks you this, you will say, I develop Webflow websites. But who do you develop them for? This is probably the question you need to answer yourself for your case.
Right, looking at the timer, we actually have time for one last quick question. So is there someone that wants to ask it? Okay. You have maybe, no? All right. Oh, we have someone. Awesome.
Hi. Just a quick question. You mentioned that 10 years ago you had a choice between multiple platforms, and for Ran, you picked Webflow. What do you think about now that we're living in a time where you have Webflow, Framer, now Figma sites? Like, people are now deciding where to focus on. Like, how do you pick the correct tool, because all of them are competing and have almost the same features? And what is your favorite dish in niche? That's a secondary question for everybody.
Yeah, that's a really great question. I think the market always operates in periods where there's a lot of options, and then there's a winner, and then the market maybe consolidates. I mean, I showed the slide with all of the logos. A lot of these, some of these are still active, right? Squarespace is still, WordPress is still a thing, like Wix is still a thing. But over time, the clarification of who this is for and what this is good for reveals itself. And I think now, actually last year, or maybe even 2 years ago, it was a confusing time where it wasn't really clear, like, wait, so what's really the difference between Framer and Webflow? And you had to be really, really specific, like, oh, in Webflow you can do this one single thing that you can't do in Framer. And I think now it's actually clear, because Webflow made it really clear that they are positioned as the upmarket enterprise. It seems like they don't care about freelancers and small websites anymore. There's a lot of like talk in the community, oh, they don't care about the community anymore, and we're like bummed out, but because they've made a strategic decision that, yeah, they don't care about freelancers, they care about enterprise, and that's it. And it seems like Framer is coming up to fill up this space. Now, how Framer is going to compete with Figma sites and that kind of stuff, I don't know. And we'll have to, I think, wait out and see. I think, again, Webflow carved its space at the top of the market, of the enterprise, and that was smart. So they are, in a sense, protected. They don't have a lot of competition. Although Framer also tries to do a little bit of enterprise, but it's not, they're not winning on that yet. So I think at the moment, it's clear that Webflow is for big, complex enterprise websites. Framer is currently good for everything else, and we'll see what happens with Figma or the other tools in the next few years, I guess.
One thing I also want to mention when it comes to which tool you should use, I think a lot of people think, oh, Framer's going to come in and kill Webflow. It's not going to do that. Me personally, my way of approaching that is just simply, what do I like using? I'm really good at Webflow because I really liked it. Tried Framer, amazing product, not for me. I'm never going to be able to compete with people who love Framer, but I love Webflow, so I can compete.
I also think it's not so much about the tool itself for many cases. I mean, you can build a website in anything. You can build it in Notepad if you want to. So it's really what suits you personally best. It's a very subjective topic for many cases. an objective in some, but unless it's a very specific use case, if it's, let's say, just a regular website with a presentation of a company, at the end it matters less than one might think it matters. There's all the other activities that matter more. Let's say content on the website is more important than the platform you're building it on. That's 100% sure. But yeah, again, I also agree with Julian that if it's a platform you like to work with, it's a platform you like to, or if it's a platform you're familiar with, is the one to work with. That's the long
But
story.
as I mentioned in my talk, if you play around with all of them and you tinker around with all of them and you feel comfortable with all of them, you don't have to maybe be a pro, then if one of them turns out to win out in the end and consolidate, then you'll at least be in a position of, yeah, I'm okay with that tool. So.
There was actually a second part of this question. What is your favorite dish in niche? So let's end with this one. So Ran, Julian, and Žiga.
I don't know the
names.
I don't know the name, but for lunch I ate something really good. It was meat rolled up with like cheese and like pepper inside, and that was pretty good.
Paprika.
That was pretty good. Like filet rolled up or something like this, or I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know what that is either.
Pretty good.
I'm not from here. For me, I had these sarma yesterday. For most people here know what sarma is, right? But I live in Srem, which is in the north part of Serbia, and it's always with like sour cabbage, kiseli kupus. I don't know how to sour cabbage. But here I had some that were with grape leaves, and they were smaller, and I actually prefer them. So that's my number one in niche right now. And you guys like spicy food. People from Srem are bitches when it comes to spice, so I like it.
I'm with you on this, Armin. This is local and it's very good. I'm a grill person though, so I would say anything that's off a grill in a kafana is perfect.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, thank you so much. So give it up. Amazing conversation. Thank you.